Yeah, my anniversary was nice. We cooked dinner together, which was nice.
What'd you cook for dinner?
We made vegetarian egg rolls.
Yum.
Egg. They were very tasty. Like, so much so, as them said we don't have
more of it.
Yeah. They're very easy to make. I say egg rolls. They weren't very traditional egg rolls, but they were still fucking delicious. I gave her that print that I showed you.
How did she react to it?
Oh, she really liked it.
The print is like what the stars looked like on their wedding night.
Yeah, it
just
was
so
awesome.
Everyone knows.
Yeah, and on the bottom it has like the main lyrics from our first dance, which was "A Million Dreams" from the Greatest Showman soundtrack reimagined, as sung by Pink.
It's a very nice present. Did she like it a lot?
Oh yes. So she was very speechless. It was adorable. So how was your guys' anniversary?
I forgot that happened too. I'm gonna be real. It was good. I felt like shit, so I laid in bed, and what we did all day was watched movies and crafted and stuff, and it was nice because honestly, both of us, we planned to do like so many exciting things last weekend, but we both were like, one, COVID, two, I'm exhausted. Aren't you exhausted? Okay, yeah, we're just gonna lay here. Like, I planned like going to brunch and all this other stuff, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm not comfortable with that. So we just stayed home and watched movies and stuff, and it was actually really nice. And I think I don't even remember everything we did, but it was just a calm weekend because Eric's birthday is also within the same 2 or 3 days of our anniversary, so we had a long weekend to just kind of celebrate both things, and it was nice. We were able to celebrate a little more because Eric's friend was here, so we were able to catch up because we hadn't seen him in quite a long time, but nothing crazy. I think we'll probably wind up celebrating our anniversary like for real in the weekends coming up, like actually do something for it. We just didn't have time or energy for that last weekend.
I feel that.
What are your highs and lows for the last week then?
Other than my anniversary, which is obviously my high, I don't really have any like lows, to be honest. I'm just tired, but I've said it before, but being tired is more like a personality trait and less like a state of being for me. So
I feel that on a deep level.
Yeah, other than that, like, I can't really complain. Our wedding anniversary was a couple days ago as you're hearing this, and that was just really nice time to be able to celebrate. Like, I've loved her for longer, but it's been obviously like a whole year of marriage, and it's been a crazy year of marriage with
COVID.
With COVID and
literally
such. But I was able to be thankful that I did get married before COVID came to the States, which I'm very thankful for, because I would have been devastated if
anything got pushed back or moved. Or it would
have
been hard.
So I'm thankful that I got to have my ceremony and that it was when it was, and that I am 1 year now married to my best friend. It's very fun and fantastic.
I'm excited to see all of the anniversaries coming up and how our friendship and relationships progress, and like how our lives are different in so many years. Like, I love looking back at our old, like, I sent you all these old pictures of Kay and me and you from like 2 or 3 years ago, and you were like, how old are we? What's going on there? And I'm like, it was only like 2 or 3 years ago, but
yeah, I literally
it
don't
just
remember
felt
those
like
being taken.
I remember we had gone to Disney Springs, and I remember us taking pictures and stuff, but it's just funny seeing like how different things are in only a couple years. So it's just cool seeing that, and how, I mean, who knows where we're going to be in another 2 or 3 years, you know?
Like, even in the next year.
That too. So I'm an happy anniversary to you and Kay.
Thanks. You and Eric too.
Thank you. And I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm excited now. The next thing is the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Really. That's like the
I'm
one thing
too.
that everyone's like, oh, it's coming up. Which it's not.
Except it's not.
It's totally not. People are so weird. They're like, "Oh, it's happening soon." I'm like, if you count 2 years from now, soon, but okay.
I remember when I first got engaged, like within. Now, to be fair, I had like a date picked out maybe the next day, but like within days, people were like, "Do you have a date yet?" And I was like, "No, I don't have a date." I mean, I did have a date, but I didn't want to tell them what the date was yet because I didn't.
And
I
the
wanted
thing
to
is,
make sure
like,
that
we
everything was
have
booked
a
first.
date. It's just deposit is expensive, and like we have to do that
Yeah,
first. But we do have a date. We have a couple of dates just in case.
good. All right.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
I guess I have a spooky story to tell you today,
Yay!
and I'm very excited about it.
Please tell me about spooky story.
So it's actually a spooky story. I know that we have been on like a true crime kick lately, but I'm actually bringing it back to a paranormal. And I'm going to tell you today about what has been dubbed the internet's most haunted painting, aka The Hands Resist Him, painted by Bill Stoneham. Do you know of it?
No, I do not.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and look up The Hands Resist Him? Just look up a picture of it.
My hands resist him is a painting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this little boy staring at me. I'm Xing this tab out.
Okay, so just to have that in your mind's eye,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
as we hop into this story. So this was painted by Bill Stoneham. The painting was painted in 1972, and at the time, he was on contract to produce two paintings for a month for $200 each. In 1974, the painting was put on display in the Feingarten Galleries in Beverly Hills, California, owned by a Mr. Charles Chuck Feingarten. His last name is German, Feingarten. So I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. While in Beverly Hills, it was reviewed by renowned art critic Henry Seldis for the LA Times during a one man, namely Bill Stoneham, art show presented by Feingarten. It was at this art show that famous actor, especially notable for being in The Godfather, John Marley, bought the painting shortly after reading Seldis's review. If you've ever seen The Godfather, have you? I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's been a long time, but yes, I have.
So John Marley portrayed the guy who woke up with a severed horse's head in his bed.
Okay, okay. So it's one
Yeah.
of the more famous actors.
Yes, yes. So from here, the history of it kind of gets a little bit strange. Henry Seldis died in 1978, and while the official police investigation ruled it a suicide, his exact cause of death was actually never determined. He was one day short of his 53rd birthday when he passed away.
Man, that's unfortunate.
So only a couple of years later, in May of 1981, Chuck Feingarten passed away under mysterious circumstances at only 60 years old, despite the fact that, according to friends and family, he was still perfectly healthy and active.
Hmm.
Then, in 1984, John Marley died at the age of 77 after complications from open heart surgery. So,
I'm seeing a
lots of people
trend
died.
here.
Yes, lots of people died in quick succession. So after Marley's death, the painting kind of like disappeared into like obscurity. Nobody really knew what happened. Supposedly, like allegedly, the art piece had been sold, but that's not like 100% confirmed. And it resurfaced again in February of 2000 when it was listed on eBay. But let me put a pin in that because we're going to back up a little bit and talk about Bill Stoneham and his history and what inspired the painting because it's
Sounds good.
important for like the background.
Okay.
So Bill Stoneham was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1947, but if he knows like what exact day it was, he's never announced it publicly. And this
That's
is
weird.
important because his first 9 months of life he lived in an orphanage. That was
Oh,
just outside
okay.
of Boston, and then the people who ended up adopting him, they took him to live in Chicago for a time to live with his grandparents in a small apartment, and there he would like, as he grew up, the apartment was so small he ended up actually having to sleep like on the floor in his grandmother's closet, like on a cot like thing.
As if you were like a dog.
Yeah. So, and that was while his father was a traveling salesman. I think I already said that. My bad. Then the family moved and settled to Northern California. So, Stoneham never actually met his biological parents, but did, through, I guess, the magic of modern day technology, learn that he had two half brothers and a full sister. Through these
Interesting.
connections, he learned that his talent and love for art and painting came from his biological mother, who was also a painter. So, according to Stoneham himself and like his family, he was like a really smart kid, super talented. He like graduated high school at the top of his class, and he moved forward to getting an associate's degree. But in his words, he said, "I was a good student, though I chose not to complete college degree above associate arts. My passion was for making art. I neither wanted nor needed an art school education beyond the basics of materials and techniques." So that's
He
good for
was like,
him.
I don't need the rest, thank you.
Yeah, essentially. Which, man, I wish I should have done that. So the Hands Resist Him painting was painted during that time I talked about when he was on contract for two paintings a month at $200. And it was inspired by a picture of him that he had from when he was about 5 years old that his parents had taken with like a neighbor girl. And that was at the apartment in Chicago. And then it was also partly inspired by a poem that his first wife, her name was Rohan Ponsetti, she had written a poem in 1971, also titled The Hands Resist Him, which was about Stoneham, his feelings about adoption, his own struggles, about how he felt with, as an adopted child, about his family, his parents, and the potential lives he could have led if he wasn't adopted. So the poem is not very long, so I'm going to read it to you. I
Okay.
practiced this all day, so hopefully it sounds very melodic and poem
Okay.
like.
I am ready for the melodic poem.
Okay. He is of the seeing visions, his strokes reveal them in a rush of color, of madness, of mystics. And his head is the highest center. It must confront its enemy, the hands, resist him like the secret of his birth. His presence is the sanctum heartbeat, felt in darkness and in passion. Its sound, the soul gift in that silence.
It sounds like he has
So,
a lot of mental constraint around his adoption, like him
yeah,
being
so
adopted.
yeah, which like I know that there are a lot of people who have like a lot of struggles with feeling adopted and feeling like why didn't my biological parents want me? Why wasn't I good enough? So that's like a really like it's a nice little short poem and like he brought that poem to visual life in a really
Hmm.
good way, I think. So for anybody else who hasn't like been curious or who hasn't seen it already, the painting just like as a very broad stroke depicts a young boy standing in front of a glass pane door and standing next to a little girl doll clothed in a blue dress and holding some kind of object which Stoneham has said is a battery to operate herself.
Fucking
According
creepy, just so you know. If you look at it, it's really creepy. There's too much eye contact for someone like me with too much anxiety. I hate it.
And the little doll's eyes are just like voids. They're empty
I
voids.
hate it.
So, according to Stoneham, the doorway is a representation of the dividing line between the waking world and the world of fantasy and impossibilities. The doll is a guide that will escort the boy through life, and the hands represent alternative lives or possibilities or potential routes his life may have taken, but he did not see them. Either the boy is looking into the future, or we, the viewer, are looking back into their past. So that's what
Interesting.
Stoneham has to say about like what his thought process was about painting it. So now we're coming back to eBay. The listing included pictures of the painting as well as images from the seller's motion detection camera, where the image seemed to have been transformed into something really skeletal. And
Interesting.
I'm gonna read the listing to you, but I'm also gonna send you the link to the not the actual eBay listing,
Yeah, because
but
it's gone now, but
right, but I'm gonna send you the link to somebody transcribed listing so that you can read along and see the pictures. This is a transcript of the original advert for the haunted painting placed on eBay in February of 2000. Quote, "When we received this painting, we thought it was a really good art.
her really
A,
good art. TM, TM.
my bad, a quote picker had found it abandoned behind an old brewery. At the time, we wondered why a seemingly little perfectly fine painting would be discarded that way. Today, we don't, in parentheses. One morning, our 4-year-and-a-half-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night. Now, I don't believe in
Um,
UFOs or Elvis being alive, but my husband was alarmed. To my amusement, I set up a motion triggered camera for 3 nights. After 3 nights, there were pictures. The last two pictures shown are from that quote stakeout. And I will post these on the ghoulgaminggals.com blog. So, after seeing the boy seemingly exit the picture under threat, we decided the painting has to go. Please judge for yourself, but before you do, please read the following warning and disclaimer. The warning is thusly. Warning. Do not bid on this painting if you are susceptible to stress-related disease, faint of heart, or unfamiliar with supernatural events. By bidding on this painting, you agree to release the owners of all liability in relation to the sale or any events happening after the sale that might be contributed to this painting.
comforting.
This painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life. However, by bidding, you agree to exclusively bid on the value of the artwork with disregard to the last two photos featured in this auction and hold the owners harmless in regard to them and their impact, expressed or implied. Now that we've got that out of the way, one question to you eBayers. We want our house to be blessed after the painting is gone.
Oh
Does
my
anyone
god.
know who is does anyone know who is qualified to do this? The
Why
size
does
of
it look haunted?
the size of the painting is 24-36 inches, so it's rather large. As I have had several questions, here are the following answers. There was no odor left behind in the room. There were no voices or the smell of gunpowder, no footprints or strange fluids on the wall. To deter questions in this direction, there are no ghosts in this world, no supernatural powers. This is just a painting, and most of these have an exclamation. In this case, probably a fluke lighting effect. I encourage you to bid on the artwork and consider the last two photographs as pure entertainment, and please do not take them into consideration when bidding. So,
I'm
they
sorry, I
spent.
would take that into consideration when bidding. She looks like she's melting.
Yeah, they spent like 2/3 of that. Like, this painting is haunted, and then the last bit was like, wait,
They're
no,
like,
never
no,
mind,
no.
it's not haunted.
They're like, it's not haunted, but like, maybe it is. I don't know.
So I don't. That was yeah. So that was the eBay listing in 2001. So finally, after hundreds of bids and over 30,000 views,
Oh
it
wow,
finally sold. Can you guess how much it sold for?
1,000.
$1,025.
Wow, I was so close.
Yeah, you were. And it sold to an art gallery owner named Kim Smith in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And he owns the Perception Gallery. And Kim keeps it in storage and refuses to sell it, despite the fact that like hundreds of people, including Zach Bagans, have offered him way more than he paid for it to take it off his hands.
He's like, no, I like the haunted painting. Let me have it.
Yeah, but he doesn't display it. He keeps it in storage. It's,
That's
it's like
weird.
locked away. Anyway, so people who have seen the painting or have seen like pictures of the painting have reported feeling sick, nauseous. They have bouts of panic and unease after looking at it.
I will say I am very nauseous, but that could just be my disability, or it could be this fucking terrifying melting girl.
I was I was earlier today while I was doing these notes, I was feeling like a little bit uneasy and I was like, I'm psyching myself out.
Yeah, it might just be that, but like, ugh. Yeah.
So the art gallery owner, Kim Smith, he reports that he gets daily messages and mail from people who report hearing voices in their house, the sound of children laughing when they don't even have children. Some people report hearing the sound of like a bike bell, like the ching 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 ching. And one commenter on the original listing claimed to have blacked out after looking at a picture of the painting.
Okay then.
So I find, as a little side note, I find the little chick ching like the tricycle bell interesting because there's I think three more paintings in this series, and like the
Those have
quote unquote
bells.
no, the one prequel painting I guess is like a painting from the other side of the door, and there's like a little tricycle in that room. Let me see if I can find it to show
Oh,
you.
but it's not in this painting.
No, but it's not in that painting, so I think that that's a little bit weird.
That is weird.
Writer Darren Kyle O'Neill published a book loosely inspired by this painting called The Hands Resist Him, Be Careful What You Bid For, and it's about a fictional serial killer known as the Life Swapper. And that's
Hmm.
all I know about that. But O'Neill reports that he's had his own experience with the painting.
Oh.
Quote, I first saw it online when I was living in Dubai. I printed it out and left it on a side table next to some other documents I had printed on the same
That's
printer with the same
mistake
paper.
numero uno.
Hmm.
You printed it out and then left it?
Anyway, I went to Italy for a month. When I came back, the air conditioning had gone awry and everything was green mold. The TV, the bed sheets, my daughter's cot and clothing, all of my suits in the closet, and the documents I had printed, all green. But right next to them, the only thing that was perfectly untouched was the printout of that painting.
That's disgusting and I hate it.
So up until 2009, only about 10 people have actually seen the painting in real life, and I don't have like an accurate like as of
Yeah,
January
yeah.
2021 because I actually watched a YouTube video of person number 9 and person number 10 seeing the painting
In
live
person.
in person, and that's been since its popularity in the 2000s. Obviously, before
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when it was out in the world,
But
I'm
since
sure
it's
other
been
people saw
known as
it.
like a
Yeah.
haunted painting kind of thing.
So I leave you with this last little bit.
Oh god.
How it ended in the back of an old abandoned brewery turned art gallery is anyone's guess. Even Bill Stoneham himself doesn't have any good explanations for how that could be. Stoneham does think, however, that while he did not paint the picture with the intent to unsettle or upset anyone, the death of the three closest men to the painting in quick succession may have had something to do with this curse. And
Probably.
that, my friend, is what I have on The Hands Resistum by Bill Stoneham.
That's so creepy and I've never heard of it and I've never seen it, thank God, until now. Um it's a very well done painting, but it definitely is like unsettling. I don't like things staring at me.
Yeah,
And the fact that it's the boy is staring at you, but like the
yeah.
doll isn't, it's weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at
I'm
all.
gonna see if I can find the other pictures in the series so that you can see it. Right, okay, so this is the resistance at the threshold,
Yikes. Ew, why is his eyes are so far apart? This is less unsettling than the other one.
but somehow still unsettling. And then the other one is called Threshold of Revolution, and they're like in a like sewer. So those are the two pictures in the series. They are called Resistance at the Threshold and Threshold of Revolution. So,
I like Threshold of Revolution because it's not creepy.
oh, and I need to find the prequel image, which I can't remember the name of. It's called The Hands Invent Him.
I don't like that. Nope. No. I don't like this.
So, just so that I say it all in one go, the other paintings in the set, the prequel image, which is called The Hands Invent Him, and that's the one from inside, like behind the door. And then the other two paintings, which take place, I guess, quote unquote, after The Hands Resist Him, are Resistance at the Threshold, which supposedly takes place about 40 years into the future of the painting, and then Threshold of Revelation. And those are the four paintings in the Hands Resist Him set. So you can take a look at those. Supposedly, the second two, the Resistance at the Threshold and the Threshold with Revelation, they are also cursed paintings, but I didn't look into those ones.
Hmm. Well,
Maybe for another time.
maybe for a different time then. Well, thank you for sharing this terrifying painting.
Yeah. So tell me what you've got going on in video game world.
So, in video game world, bow bow,
Pew pew pew
pew pew
pew.
pew 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 pew. There's a lot and nothing all at once. It's like every week. Depends on how you look at it, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
So, a couple of things. Nintendo was talking about basically a new Mario game and also a new Mario Special Edition console, and it's red and blue, which is interesting because I'm fine with red and blue, but together they just don't make good colors to me. But if you want a console that looks like Mario, I guess you can have that.
Is it like the electric blue, like the Joy-Con?
No, it's like the Joy-Con and the Switch itself, the dock and everything.
Ew.
The next thing I have for you is that an open world Star Wars game is in development, and
Oh,
Ubisoft
I've heard
is
about
working.
this.
They're working with Lucasfilm Games, and Ubisoft Massive is actually developing the game. And according to the CEO of Ubisoft, they said it marks the start of a long-term collaboration with Disney. So maybe they'll make some more. But there have been recruiting for the project. They said that they're going to use the Snowdrop engine, which I've never seen anything about. Like, I have seen a lot about other engines, specifically like Unreal, stuff like that. But yeah, so they announced that they were going to be the Star Wars games will be brought under a new single brand called Lucasfilm Games. So everything will be under this company. And then Bethesda is also working on an Indiana Jones game at the same time. So there is a lot going on all at once right now. And
Oh,
back in like
sorry. I was like, what games are in the Snowdrop engine? So it's like a lot of Mario and
yeah,
the Rabbids Kingdom Battle, South Park, Tom
so it's not
Clancy's
like
The
small
Division.
games. It's just not
Yeah.
it's not something that people use for everything
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, right
Anyway,
now.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No, you're
interrupt.
fine. Right now they're working on the Star Wars game, and they're also working on the Indiana Jones game. Back in 2013, EA and Disney had announced a multi-year licensing agreement that gave EA the exclusive rights to Star Wars games. But now the deal has been altered, and they're able to basically get away from that. So
Nice.
yeah, so we'll see what kind of Star Wars game it is. The only thing that's been said is that it's open world. So we'll see how that
I,
goes.
for as much as I like Star Wars, have literally never played a Star Wars game, and
They're
I
actually
probably
really
won't
fun. I
start.
played a lot of
So
them. Battlefront is fun, but annoying because people wreck you instantly. It's super annoying.
the only one that I've ever like almost started playing was Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, okay. No, I would recommend playing at least one of them just to get like a feel of what the style. Obviously, it's different,
I
but
was gonna say it's gonna be different now with the new team making it.
it is. But definitely take a look at some of the older ones. Like I used to play the original Battlefronts, and there was this one game I don't remember what it was, but when I was a kid, it was on like PS2 or something. But it was super fucking fun, and it was like capture the flag and a bunch of other stuff. But I'm nostalgic about it.
That's
But
adorable.
my next piece of news for you is that Cyberpunk 2077, the next gen update isn't coming until late 2021. They're trying to make plans for more fixes and improvements. They expanded. They actually like made a roadmap of like the patches that are coming up. It kind of describes in more detail like what's going on and what they're going to patch and improve. They are trying to fix the issues that they haven't fixed, especially on last gen consoles, so like PS4 and stuff like that. So the studio has kind of delayed its plans to start adding new DLC because they want to fix the original shit that's wrong with the game.
Yeah, really.
Which, like, fair. I will quote something. So, our big plans for supporting Cyberpunk in the long term did not change. As for the free DLCs, our initial plan was to deliver them just after the release, much like we did with Witcher 3. We decided to focus on the most important fixes and updates first, and we will be releasing the DLCs afterwards. Expect more information in the coming months, which I think is fair. Don't release more content if the original game isn't fixed, especially if it's causing issues. And like if you're adding DLC, then you only have more shit to fix afterwards. So
Yeah, and that means that you're putting your resources are not being put into fixing the game. It's
exactly.
putting out more content.
More
So
content and people are
that's a
going to be
bad
like
look
thanks for
too.
the content, but like the game, the base game
No,
is
I don't
fucked.
feel like people would be like, thanks for the content. They'd be like, why are we getting content and not a fixed game?
Yeah, they're
So,
like this game is fucking blowing up. Like and I touched earlier about how this new Indiana Jones game is being made, but I'll go into it a little bit more now. Machine Games with executive producer Todd Howard is actually developing this game, and they announced a teaser on the 12th. Bethesda did. They announced a teaser on Tuesday morning, which I will send to you and you can post on our website. But the teaser, in
you mean
short,
Bethesda does something other than Skyrim remakes
yes,
every 2 years? I'm
that's
sorry, that was
something
mean.
different. The teaser doesn't have like a launch date or platforms or anything like that, but they can tell from the teaser that this is an Indiana Jones game. This year, Lucasfilm is actually celebrating the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark's like original premiere. So it kind of makes sense that
Whoa,
they're
really?
start. Yeah, 40 years.
Holy
So
shit.
it's cool to see like them trying to build off of that. So yeah, we'll see. And they announced later on in a tweet A new Indiana Jones game with an original story is in development from our studio at Machine Games and will be executive produced by Todd Howard in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. It'll be sometime before we have more to reveal, but we're very excited to share today's news, and that was yesterday. So, as of right now, when this comes out, it won't be yesterday, but so yeah, isn't that really cool and exciting?
Yeah.
The next thing I have for you is that now I'm sure you've all loved hearing me talk about this game 50,000 fucking times, but Little Nightmares 2 is coming out. Little Nightmares
I
is
somehow
amazing.
had a feeling that's where we were going with
Little
this.
Nightmares is amazing, and they finally made 2, and the demo is available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Series S users. It should be available on PC through Steam, so take a look at the demo, which I'm totally going to do later tonight. I'm really excited about this. Please play Little Nightmares 1, Angel. I really want to talk to you about it.
Okay.
You might be screaming, but it's fine. It's not
All
as
right.
scary as like Phasmophobia. Like it's not jump scares, it's more just like tension because you're trying to get shit done. But if you actually take a look soon, by the time that this episode is out, if you haven't ever played Little Nightmares the first one, it's actually available. It is free on PC from January 13th to January 17th on the Bandai Namco Entertainment Europe store. So please, if you have access to that, go get it. An Epic account is required to download the game, but it's free. And even if it's not free right now, for most people, it's pretty fucking cheap right now. So I would just buy it. Like, let me look. I'm gonna go on Steam right now.
So I have to buy it from Bandai Namco and not from Steam, right?
If you want the free, yeah, $20 on
Oh, that's not so
Steam.
bad.
Yeah, I mean it's a small puzzle game. It's nothing crazy. The next little bit of info I have for you is that, like every game that we've been excited about in the last year, Hogwarts Legacy was delayed until 2022.
Wow, I'm somehow not surprised.
They released a tweet saying, "We would like to thank fans from around the world on the tremendous reaction to the announcement of Hogwarts Legacy from our Portkey Games label. Creating the best possible experience for all of the Wizarding World and gaming fans is paramount to us, so we are giving the game the time it needs. Hogwarts Legacy will be released in 2022." You know, I don't feel weird about this. I'm like, I'd rather a game be really taken care of and taking the time that it needs to be created than to rush it out and then have a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of issues. And I know, like, that's what's going on with Cyberpunk, is that people were like, no, 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 we've already waited so long, fucking put it out. And then there was all
Yeah.
these issues. So, this game, just take the time you need. We'll be okay.
I always like to, whenever we talk about this, I always like to reference, like, when you fucking take your time, you get Breath of the fucking Wild, which
Yeah, like,
was,
let's take our time.
and
Like,
that game was
there is no
delayed. I
rush.
can't even think about how many times it was delayed. It was delayed so long it came out on the next Nintendo console. So like, and it was originally intended supposed to come out on the Wii U. So like, that game was phenomenal. So I'm
Sometimes
not
you just need to wait
upset.
to be able to get something amazing, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
I'm not upset at the idea of having to wait for Hogwarts Legacy when I know that in the past companies have really benefited from putting off games to make sure that it's 100% because we see Breath of the Wild as a success story, and on that same token we see Cyberpunk 2020 as a cautionary tale. So it's like, or 2077 as a cautionary tale.
Yeah, it's luckily Cyberpunk is still doing really well, but it easily could have been really bad. So
It was strudel in there for a little bit.
yeah, it was. So, and the last little bit, which is kind of more of a funny thing and less of a news bit, but because we're living in the world of masks, Project Hazel is Razor's first take on a mask, which didn't know you needed this, but it has RGBs, RGB lighting in it. I
Weird.
will read this to you.
Yes, please.
It's a detachable, rechargeable active ventilation system to regulate airflow with N95 medical grade respirator protection to filter at least 95% of airborne particles. The design also features a transparent front panel so that people can see your facial expressions, or when communicating with people who are deaf or hard of hearing and they can read your lips. The mask would also use voice amp technology, featuring a built in microphone and amplifier to prevent the mask from muffling your voice. And of course, because it's Razer, It has Razor Chroma RGB lighting.
Interesting.
Uh, right now it's only a concept, but I had to bring it up because it's fucking hilarious, and also shows how long this pandemic could actually go for. So
Yeah, really.
it's kind of interesting to see companies kind of like start talking about this, because this is a very real possibility that we might be wearing masks for, a year or two more or three more or
I
whatever.
think I have said it before and I will say it again, but I
Even
have a
after the
feeling
pandemic ends, we're
that
going to be wearing
masks
masks.
are going to be a pretty permanent part of our daily life from here on out, I think.
I think so too.
Not maybe not to the extent that it is now, but I think that we're going to come to a point where like if you're sick and you need to go out in public, you're just going to have a face mask on and nobody's going to look twice at you. And I just think that after the Spanish influenza, that's how Asian countries handled it. Like they wear masks as part of their daily life and it
Which I
is
think
just
that
what it
we
is.
should do. I think we should have done it before. And the fact that people are like, oh, I hate wearing a mask, but like people that are in the healthcare field wear masks all day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
So
it's not
it's
that far fetched that they're trying to create something
yeah. I don't
futuristic.
yeah, I don't yeah, I think that we're going to be wearing masks for a long time to come. And I at this point I almost hope that we will be. At
Man, I
least
like wearing a mask. I don't have to put foundation on the lower half of my face.
I was about to say when my
No one
face
has to
breaks
see my
out.
stupid fucking facial expressions. I've made some, dumb faces in the last couple of weeks, and no one has ever seen them because I'm just behind a mask. So why wouldn't we just adopt this? And also, it's safer. Like,
I mouth curses to people who piss me off in my
there you
mask.
go. That's what I mean. But that is all of the news I have for you today.
Well, how fun. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for
Have you
sharing
been
with me.
playing anything new recently? We haven't talked about that.
I haven't played it yet, but I will touch on something. And how about the next time we talk on the podcast, I will tell you how it goes. As a anniversary present for a moi, Eric bought me the DLC pack for Dead by Daylight that includes Freddy Krueger, which means
Oh,
now I can play Freddy Krueger and I can fuck some people up being Freddy Krueger, and I'm very excited about it.
how fun.
So I will let you know. Maybe I'll stream it because honestly,
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger is one of my favorite like classic horror villains. So if I play it, maybe I'll stream it so you can see how good and or bad I am at Freddy Krueger.
Yes, you should. That'll be fun. I started playing Hyrule Warriors: The Age of Calamity
How is that going?
yesterday. So far, I am having a good time. I like it better than the first Hyrule Warriors. Like, honest to God, it's a lot of fun.
I have not
There's
played it. I haven't actually seen that much about it, but it seems like it'd be right up your alley.
I'm not super into hack and slash games, which Dynasty Warriors and Hyrule Warriors first and foremost is. But what I appreciate about it is that it is. I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, but it is like the perfect a hack and slash is the perfect platform to tell the story of the calamity because it is in Breath of the Wild told as like hordes of monsters just coming at you at all the time, and so I just think that a hack and slash like this is a great
Like you're in a
platform
mood
to tell
for it
that
and you're like,
story.
"Hell yeah, I'm excited about
Yeah,
this."
yeah. So like I could super care less about like the hack and slash. I'd rather play something a little bit that challenges my brain a little bit more. But as far as like the story that it's telling and just being a part of the Zelda universe is just like it's a good time. I really am enjoying it. Wow.
Meow.
Anyway, I think is that all?
No, I think that is all we got today, and thank you for sharing a terrifying story about a painting that I'll never be able to get out of my head, but that's okay.
So you can follow us on.
Instagram at ghoulgaminggals.podcast and maybe Facebook. And you can basically listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also probably look us up. We're still on YouTube right now, still, right?
Oh yeah.
And if you go to patreon.com/ghoulgaminggals, you can see all of our terrible bloopers. And by see, I mean here. And
You
they're
can
bad.
also follow us on Twitter at ghoulgaminggals.
We post every Friday, and if you want to hear us talk about dumb stuff and also bring light to things that you've never heard of before, just listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And
Yeah.
It's 2021, y'all. Make it the best year that you possibly can. I know it's hard, but you can do it, champ.
Yeah. Put me in, coach.
No, don't put me in. I don't want it.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, have a safe, good weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
Okay.